Oh,
Hello! Welcome to episode 1 of Top Secret.
This is our new TV show. Every week we'll be solving an unsolved mystery from the archives.
These missions are about secret spies in the Bible, and we need to work out who they are.
Sounds good.
Mission number 1. One sec.
On camera.
Sorry. Right, let's open it up then. Come on.
Alright. Top secret. Fine,
No time.
It's okay. Here we go. Number 12.
Is it?
Hey, there's more. Number 12.
Number 12.
Number 12.
I mean, grapes. So 12 and grapes.
Big hairy man.
Big hairy man. And last one.
Who are they?
I don't know. Should we stick them on the boat?
So, are you paying attention?
Yeah.
So, what do we have? Man with beard. Man with no beard. Man with hair. Man with hat. Cloud. What do you think is all connected?
I don't know.
You're meant to be the smart one here.
No, it's just a picture of 2 men.
Different men. This man has beard.
Okay.
What about number 12? If you move 12 round, you get 21. Maybe
Yeah.
that's important. Maybe it's the other way around.
Maybe.
Because if you move that round, you still have a 1.
Who's 12 in the Bible?
Everyone was once 12.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm 13. I used to be 12. You used to be 12 a few years ago. I don't think any of you are 12, but when you become 12,
What about
remember this.
grapes? Do you like grapes?
Yes,
No. But
difficult topic. I like some grapes, not other grapes, you know. They can't be too juicy. Oh, that's for a different episode. What about Big Hairy Man? He looks very happy. Why is he so happy? Has he just grown more
it
hair?
reminds me of someone.
Ooh. He looks like tall man, taller than this man. Possibly Goliath?
Maybe. So, we've worked out that there was 12 men involved, and the men were giants, because they're really tall. And we
Big
worked out
tall
that 2 of them were special,
What if we had a beard?
and they stood out. One of them had a beard as well. And these
That-
12 men loved grapes.
Like my hat.
So that's what we were on. So we got really close. So yeah,
Big.
it is.
I remember the story. There was 12 spies, like
Spies?
grapes, there were giants involved. Joshua and Caleb.
You think we had Joshua and Caleb?
I don't know if they had beards, did I?
Which one's Joshua, which one's Caleb then?
That is Joshua. That is
Are you
Caleb.
sure?
No.
Well, who else is it going to be? It's got to be them. We think it's Joshua and Caleb.
Think
Yes,
it's them.
Hello, Hero Factory! So did you guess it? Did you manage to put all the clues together and guess that it was all about Joshua and Caleb? Now, I did. I guessed it was about Joshua and Caleb, and it was the grapes. The grapes gave it away for me. Anyway, Joshua and Caleb is a story that we find in the Old Testament of the Bible. And instead of me telling you the story, let's just watch this video and it'll tell us everything we need to know.
God told Moses, "Send men to scout out the land of Canaan. I am giving this land to the Israelites." Moses sent out one leader from each family tribe. He told the men what to do. Go see what the land is like, and whether the people who live there are strong or weak, few or many. Moses had a lot of questions. Is the land good or bad? Are the cities they live in camps or forts? Is the land good for farming? Are there any trees? Moses said, be courageous. So the men went and scouted out the land. They traveled around the land for 40 days. They cut down a cluster of grapes in the valley and carried it on a pole. Then they went back to Moses, Aaron, and the Israelite community to tell them what they saw. The land is good. It is flowing with milk and honey, they said. But the people living in the land are strong, and the cities they live in are large and well protected. Then Caleb, one of the spies, said, we must go up and take possession of the land. We can certainly conquer it with God's help. But the other men disagreed. The people are stronger than we are. We look like grasshoppers compared to them. The Israelites were afraid and they cried all night. They thought Moses and Aaron had brought them to Canaan to die. The Israelites said, let's appoint a new leader and go back to Egypt. Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the Israelites. Joshua and Caleb, who had both scouted out the land, tore their clothes and said to the Israelites, the land is extremely good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will give it to us. Don't be afraid of the people living in the land. God is with us. The Lord spoke to Moses, how long will these people despise me? How long will they not trust me? God threatened to destroy all the people, but Moses said, please forgive the wrongdoing of the people. I know you are great, faithful, and loving. God replied, since you have asked, I will forgive them. But none of them who despise me will live to see the promised land of Canaan. Since Caleb and Joshua had followed God completely, God would let them enter the promised land. God said that the Israelites who did not trust God would face consequences for their sin. They would wander in the wilderness 40 years, and they would not enter the promised land. All of the spies who went to scout out the land died, except for Joshua and Caleb. Caleb and Joshua trusted God. God planned for Joshua to lead the next generation of Israelites into the promised land. Joshua was not perfect, but his faithfulness reminds us of Jesus, who is perfect. Jesus obeyed the Father and trusted his plan to save people from their sins.
Amazing. So that is the story of Joshua and Caleb. Moses gets his 12 spies and he sends them off to this promised land that God has been talking about. Now, when they get there, they all have their different opinions. Some of them think, oh, this is a little bit scary. And some of them think, no, we can do this. Some of them think, this is going to be really hard. I'm not too sure if we should do this. Maybe we should just stay in the desert. And then some of them think, no, this is the promised land. We can do this. And all of them have different opinions about the situation. So all 12 of the spies, they head back to Moses. And when Moses says, tell me everything, out of the 12 spies, 10 of them say it is impossible. 10 of them focus on the problem and say, we can't do it. It's impossible. The giants, they are massive. The grapes, they are huge. It's not possible. We should not go into the promised land. We should just stay here where it's nice and it's good and we have everything that we need. And then there was Joshua and Caleb. Joshua and Caleb returned and said, yeah, they are big. Yeah, it is a huge land. Yes, it is going to be difficult. But look what God has done for us. God's brought us out of Egypt. God's brought us here. And we know that God will help us and keep us safe and keep us protected. But the 10 spoke louder. They kept focusing on the problems. They kept thinking about all the things that might go wrong. And because of that, they ended staying up in the desert for longer. You see, 2 of them thought they could do it. 10 of them thought that they couldn't. And because more thought that they couldn't, they spoke so much louder and Moses listened to them. You know, Hero Factory, the 10 spies were focusing on all the problems, and they were letting the problems get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they kept talking about the problems, and eventually they got to the point where they thought, this is impossible, we can't do this, it is huge, it's impossible, we will never be able to get into this promised land. And sometimes we do that, don't we? We focus on the problems and all the things that might go wrong and all the things that might happen. You know, one time, me and a group of friends decided to walk up a mountain. Now, this was a huge mountain and the weather wasn't great, and I didn't really fancy it. And I kept thinking about the fact that we're going to get wet, we're going to get cold, it's going to be really high, we're going to get tired, it's going to get dark, it's going to be really, really scary. And I just kept focusing on all the problems, to the point where I decided not to do it. So I decided to not hang out with my friends and decided to not walk up this mountain. And then I got really sad because my friends had a great time and they loved it and they had so much fun and they talked about it for ages, and I just felt awful because I felt like I had missed out. But it's because I had focused on the problem and I kept looking at the problems, and because of that I talked myself out of it and decided that it was too scary. Now, here actually in the Bible it says that nothing is impossible for God. And that's totally true. You know, in our lives, there's going to be situations that are impossible. And there's going to be lots and lots and lots and lots of problems in our lives. And if we focus on the problem and think about all the things that might happen, then we're never going to do it. But if we remember that if we've got God in our lives, then nothing is impossible. So here actually this week, I want you to have a think. Are you focusing on the problem or are you focusing on God? Because when we focus on the problem, we're only going to be scared and worried and anxious and nervous. But when we focus on God, we will realize that nothing is impossible.